ask for a roll call.
Blunier, Hilliard.
Here.
Leach.
Here.
Kendall.
Here.
Newman. Here. Parrot. Here. We have a quorum.
You join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no public hearings, public comment. Anyone has anything to say? If not, the consent agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes, the regular meeting, October 21 of 2024, the closed session of October 21st, 2024, and the approval of the bills. Would you have a motion?
Move approval. Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I just have a few items. We did, just so the public knows, we did make USA Today about a week ago, made front page. Also, I'd like to congratulate the 8th grade boys cross-country team that won first place in state, and that's the first time Morton has taken first place in the cross-country boys. Also, I think the marching band had quite a couple weeks. So they won their, I think it's their 19th state championship qualifications. And then they won first place awards for the 3rd year at the Illinois State Marching Band Championships. And in the Class 2 category, they won Best Music, Best Visuals, and Best General Effects. And like I said, that was their 19th. Then the following week, they went to the Bands of America in St. Louis, and there's 32 teams there, and they finished first place out of the 32 for the 2A division. And again, they swept 3 categories: the Best Music, Best Visuals, and Best General Effects. So our band keeps marching on. Back in 2018, when they won the Sudler Award, which is an award that only 3 teams in the world get per year. At that time, they were the smallest band to ever win. And the announcer said that's unheard of, that 25% of the kids that go to Morton High School go out for band. That's a percentage that he's never matched anywhere else. So congratulations to them and their efforts. So a lot of good news. Also, I was interviewed for a while by the WCBU, Peoria Public Radio, and the story's coming out about pumpkins today, so I'll make sure you get that link. If you're not tired of pumpkins yet. And so that story's out, and I was interviewed over at Bradley University. So then if you're bored or have had enough turkey, the 28th, on the morning of the 29th, November 29th, from 7 to 8, I'm going to be interviewed for an hour again about pumpkins and all about Morton for an hour from 7 to 8 a.m. by Mark Hutchinson with the WPEO AM 1020 radio station. Again, 7 to 8, Nate, if you want to tune in on that. But if not, I'm sure I'll get a recording for all of you.
We're sure you will.
And we're going to be talking all about Morton, and he thought we could talk about Morton for an hour. I said, I don't think we'll have trouble. I spoke to the newsman on USA Today for 2.5 hours while we walked Morton, so I think we can wing an hour. So still a few things going on about Morton. So other than that, that's all I have. Village clerk.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village administrator.
I have one item tonight, Your Honor. I present Resolution 22-25, which is a resolution removing designation of certain monies for certain purposes.
Do you have a motion?
Second.
This is to change the designation that the village had set on tourism tax money. We had set aside 10% several years ago of every receipt that we get in to put it into a building fund. At one time, we thought we would build like a civic center or a tourism center near the interstate, and that idea has kind of come and went. And so I believe it's time that we stop designating those funds and release the funds that we have had setting as designated into just general operating funds for the tourism fund.
Any questions?
Just curious, what's the balance?
Off the top of my head, it's not a whole lot at this point since we bought all the barriers. I believe the building fund only has like $30,000 in it at this time.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Parrot?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything else?
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Chief of Police,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Corporation Counsel.
A few items tonight, Your Honor. The first item I have is an ordinance making amendments to section 1-5-2 of the Morton Municipal Code regarding compensation for elected village trustees.
If we could have a motion. Second.
Tonight represents the meeting at which you would need to take up consideration of any change in salaries for elected officials for it to take effect, and the terms which will be elected at the spring election. So in coordination with, and at the direction of Mayor Kaufman, I worked on an amendment to the proposed, or to the ordinance setting compensation for trustees to move from the current structure, which is a flat fee, to a per meeting compensation. State law allows compensation to be done either on a per meeting basis or on a flat fee. So the proposal would switch beginning May 1st, 2025, new terms beginning after that date, which would be the terms elected in the spring, to a $75 per month compensation structure. Per meeting, I'm sorry, I said per month, I meant per meeting. Thank you, Trustee Leach, for the correction.
Any questions?
Would this be the $1,200 flat plus 70? Okay, so it'd just be the 75, okay.
Correct, yes. And one other small note I should make is it would not affect any trustee whose terms began in 2023. So those trustees would remain, you can't increase or change compensation during the elected term of office, so it would only be for the 3 trustees who take office, take new office in May of 2025.
Just a quick, will it be the village clerk's responsibility to track that and let the payroll people know? Is that?
I hadn't given consideration to that issue, to be honest with you. The ordinance does require, does define a meeting to be a gathering of a quorum of the corporate authorities where there are minutes, agenda posted, and minutes taken for the meeting in order to have documentation of per meeting attendance. I think there are a number of different approaches administratively for how that could be handled internally.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Mennel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Parrot?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next ordinance I have is an ordinance making amendments to Chapter 6 of Title I of the Morton Municipal Code regarding the compensation of the village president.
We have a motion.
So moved. Second.
Again, this is a meeting at which any change of this nature would need to be contemplated and acted upon. The ordinance has kind of a new structure to it since the village's economic development tasks have been reassigned from being contracted outward from the village to a lot of times now falling on the village president presently, and to provide some proportionality for the compensation based upon the services rendered. There's kind of a 2-tier structure here. For any period of time in which the village is not employing an employee whose chief employment responsibility is to coordinate economic development, and as long as the village isn't contracting outwardly for that service, the compensation village president would be $20,000, with the village president serving kind of in that economic development administrator role. But if the village were to contract or hire economic development employee or contract out that service, the compensation would go down to $14,000 per year. So $20,000 per year if the mayor is doing EDC stuff, $14,000 if the mayor is not.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Mennel,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Motion carries. That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Okay. Director of Fire and Emergency Services.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
All right, Director of Public Works.
Item A, Your Honor, is acceptance of bid for the nursing home demolition project in the amount of $411,200.60, and award of contract for same to River City Demolition.
If we could have a motion. Any more comments? Anything else to say about it? Don't have to.
No.
Okay. Any questions? Call the roll.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot. Leach.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I would like to move item D up, due to the fact that it's integral to item A, as a resolution authorizing agreement with AAA Asbestos for removal of asbestos-contained material.
If we could have a motion.
Second.
Any comments?
Question.
Yes.
I see it's for a not, I believe a not to exceed $100,000.
That is correct.
And it's on time and material.
Yes.
Is that the estimate of what, is that kind of the estimate of what this work is going to cost, or?
I believe they probably looked at the total lineal footage of asbestos that needed to come out, the transite pipe, and they would have given that estimate on that.
I can speak briefly to that. I worked with Craig on the preparation resolution. I believe there's some, based on the plan for removal of the asbestos-containing material and some of the demolition that's occurring on with it, there's some variability to it, but I think the projected actual cost is closer to $70,000, depending on, it could go up based on difficulties encountered.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Parrot.
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Mennel.
Yes.
Hilliard.
Yes.
Leach.
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next item, Your Honor, is the resolution of authorization acceptance for temporary construction easement for Matcor Metal Fabrication, Inc.
We could have a mo-
for improvements along Flint Avenue in Morton.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Question. Is there any compensation for this easement?
No, there is not. I believe there's not.
There is not. The MatCor is also dedicating some right-of-way to the state of Illinois to IDOT in order to facilitate the intersection improvements at 98 and Flint Avenue. There are some inclusions in a proposed construction plan for Flint Avenue that were done in coordination with MatCor to facilitate the most efficient use of their site, some sidewalks and some entrances being allowed there. And after some negotiations with MatCor, they discovered that those benefits far exceeded the nominal compensation that would otherwise be owed for the easement. So we reached an accord to leave those things in the plan, and they would dedicate the easement, both the temporary construction easement and the right-of-way gratuitous.
The right of way also.
Yes.
Craig's been working with them consistently.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Parrot?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And the last item, Your Honor, is a resolution authorizing acceptance of proposal from Creative Landscaping for tree removal and replacement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, any questions? The amount is $4,600 of that resolution. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Mennel?
Yes.
Parrot?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Anything else you'd like to talk about, Stan?
I have no other items, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. For the public knows, Stan is one of our inspectors, and Craig is gone tonight. Zoning and code enforcement.
I've got 3 items tonight, Your Honor. The first being a zoning amendment petition
number 2408ZA.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Want to make any comments on that?
This is just a zoning amendment proposed by Sarah Neep to go from an R1 lot to an R2 lot. Her intentions are to make a upstairs and downstairs rental property for a two-family.
Question. As I understand, there are separate water services to this property already for the two.
Right now, it's been operating as a single-family home, so there's only one set of utilities right there currently.
Will that be modified?
I would like to think that the staff of the village would like to think that that would be the case, based off of all of our current policies and how we set up different new construction and such. We would prefer to have separate gas and water utilities.
So that would be done part of the, how's that accomplished? And is there permits needed here?
We would basically have to get Sarah some costs of what that would take from our gas and water departments, what it would take to provide service to the house. Now, in terms of this zoning amendment, I don't believe there's anything that says in this currently that we are mandating that.
That you can make a part of your motion if you wanted to.
Well, or would it be done, will there be a need for a certificate of occupancy?
Not really for residential, for,
They're not putting an apartment in the basement, though.
yes, there's upstairs and downstairs.
In conversation with Ms. Neat, she has intentions to add that. Apparently, at one time, in previous years, 1970s, that there were two connections. There was an apartment upstairs as well as downstairs. But as the family that lived there grew, they had a need for the entire house. And so then that was removed. But she had expressed intentions to reestablish them by putting dual meters in there, one for each occupancy.
So are you saying to make that part of this, that we expect that, or?
I'm expecting that from conversations that we have had with her.
Yeah, well, first off, I guess I would say that I'm not for changing an R1 to an R2, especially on Main Street there. I wouldn't be for it. The other thing that I'd say is that there's, I don't know if we make it part of our motion, does that have any power to force her to do it?
You could make that a condition of the rezoning.
But I don't think we should, and I worry about additional parking on Main Street in that area as well. I just don't think it's the right thing to do.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we condition this change from R1 to R2 to require that separate gas and water services be provided.
Okay, were you first or second?
I don't know.
First? You were second? Who was second? Parrot? Do you want to amend your motion?
I'll amend my motion to that.
Okay. So we'll vote on the amendment?
No, if it's a friendly amendment, trustee Newman proposed the amendment, trustee Parrott and Eric
So,
approved that, so that's considered a friendly amendment, so what you're voting on would include the contingency.
So we're voting on changing it from R1 to R2 that requires the utilities, separate hookups. Everybody understood?
Would it also require a separate shut-off, water shut-off? If there's only one water shut-off at the curb, we can only shut off, we can never shut off water if there's two separate residences.
There would be a
It would
shut-off.
require a curb stop, an additional curb stop, yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
So, what about the parking issue? Is this property have parking in the back?
It has, if you look at the driveway, there's a garage that's directly behind the house, so cars that would come in and park in the driveway, if they park in the garage, no one can park on the driveway, they're gonna be able to get out. So then anybody else would have to park on the street.
I have some of the same concerns on the driveway. It's a single driveway, and I believe it's not only used by that house, but also used by the house next door, who I believe is owned by.
It's a shared
petitioners-
driveway.
Yeah, petitioners' parents now, But if sometime in the future it's not, then I could see there being, you know, and the property next door is zoned R2 as well, so presumably you have 2 tenants there and then 2 tenants in this house. You have possibly four tenants using a single driveway. And granted, there's a little bit of turnaround space at the back, but, you know, having lived in a house, a single-family house with a single driveway and how much of a pain that was, I can imagine several tenants that being cumbersome. And I guess it kind of raises another question. Is there an easement that the house next door is allowed to use the driveway there? How does that?
Zach, do you know the answer to that?
I know it's just been in, the house that Sarah just bought has been in the same owner's possession for so long. I think it's just not been an issue because it's been the same people living there. So I think they've just figured out a way to make it work and who's using what, so it's never really been an issue until there's been some sort of change in occupancy.
I guess it's been great now, and it will probably be great while her family, you know, own the properties next door, but that kind of concerns me, the whole
So
whole thing.
we don't know how many adults would live in the house and how many cars might be
Yeah.
used. So by granting this, we're gonna be pushing cars out on Main Street and parking. There's no alley behind these houses.
That's right.
But there's that huge green space that's back there.
I do believe I read something that the intent is to provide a one-bedroom studio apartment
In the basement.
in the basement.
And I don't know how many adults would live upstairs. If a family lived there, I'm gonna guess it'd be easy to have parents and kids or whatever.
You would more than
I
likely have at
think-
least 3 vehicles.
Yeah, I don't know that there would be that many, but I can't say to that. I know that when I talked, what I spoke of earlier, a family lived in the entire house, utilizing the entire thing. I guess I'm not seeing the issue with parking on Main Street there. It's out of the area where our businesses are located. I know that, personally, I live in a driveway that has just a single drive, and you have to constantly maneuver vehicles around to get in and out, and that does include some of the parking in front of the house on the street. I live on a pretty busy road, so. I would share the same concerns that Trustee Newman had initially brought up with the, making sure we had the separate utilities to do that. I think that's addressed by the amended motion.
Any other comments, questions? We'll call the vote.
Hilliard,
Yes.
Leach,
No,
Mennel,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Parrot.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Second item I have tonight, Your Honor, is a ordinance making amendments to Chapter 5 of Title 10 of the Morton Municipal Code regarding circular driveways.
We could have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments?
So what this does is it allows for circular driveways within the village. While reviewing the code over some upcoming projects, we found out and looked over that circular driveways or new ones were not going to be allowed at all in the village. So with some of these new properties that are becoming available in these larger lots, we wanted to put some new provisions into the code to allow them to exist while also making sure that they fit on lots that they make sense where they're going. To do that, working with Craig and members of the Plan Commission, we kept the original attributes of the circular driveways, and we added in maintaining a 25-foot landscape yard as well into the ordinance to basically, if you can support enough of that 25 foot of the green space into your yard and your front setback, you can probably handle a decent sized circular driveway, and it would actually warrant it and benefit the property as a whole. You can still have the same frontage requirements as well as the same requirements of the openings on either side of the driveway. So all that we're doing is basically adding in that space into the code to hopefully put these driveways where they're supposed to go. Also in the ordinance, there's a grandfather clause basically to say, if you have a circle driveway now, you can keep those, maintain them. We're not going to make you conform to these new dimensions, but you can't make it larger, you can't make it a bigger thing, but we just wanted to make this change to account for some of the upcoming jobs here in Morton.
Thank you. Any?
Question. So the 25-foot green space or whatever, landscape space, whatever you want to call it, that's between the right-of-way and the, I guess what would be more or less the driveway portion that's running parallel to the road.
Correct.
For, okay, so if it's circular, to the left and right of that, it's gonna be less than 25 feet. So it's at least part of it has to be 25 feet, you're saying?
Correct. It basically is going to prevent those circular driveways that are just kind of really tight to the road. And it's kind of like a concrete jungle kind of feeling. We want to make sure that they're kind of set back so where the property can actually handle, and it would call for a circular driveway. Let's say you have a bigger house that's set back 67 foot. It would make sense to have a circular driveway come in front so you can get out and go to your front door and not have your driveway all jammed up with family and friends coming over for the holidays and such. So, I mean, we feel like the 25-foot landscape requirements kind of basically allow that and maintain that so it looks right.
But the distance between the openings isn't regulated.
Between the openings?
Yeah. It's a maximum 150 foot, or a minimum 150 foot lot.
Correct. For your frontage, you have to maintain your side setback still, of course.
Yeah, but you could narrow those openings so that you have a fairly narrow, I guess, narrow space between the two openings, between the two driveway openings. It'd be fairly tight
Talk about the arc.
circle on it, yeah,
Sure.
the arc. Was there a picture in there?
I thought we said the openings couldn't change.
The openings are going to stay, but you're saying the distance between the two openings?
Between the openings, you could reduce that to 50 feet. And have
Yes,
very,
there's nothing in the ordinance currently that says anything or dictates what that distance between the openings on the interior need to be.
I mean, I would think to try to accomplish the aesthetics, I guess, of maintaining a green area, I would think you'd want to have some kind of minimum space in between those two driveway openings. I mean, you're on a 150-foot lot,
Sure.
something to the effect of 75 feet, or, I don't know.
I would hope that whoever would be installing it would want to have it to be at least a reasonable sort of arc, so it makes sense for their turning their vehicles in there. I wouldn't assume that someone would want to smash in a non-functioning, sort of really tight circular driveway, but I agree, there's nothing in here that says anything to address that.
I guess to your point, I guess there's nothing preventing them from doing that. I see it as a small percentage of probably no people that would actually do that, where they would come up and, hairpin back down if they have a 150-foot, lot. Can't imagine somebody doing that.
Well, could we?
I would see also that it would be a larger parcel of property that would be able to do this.
If you'd like, you can certainly table it tonight, and I can work with staff to prepare additional language to this. If this is something you'd like to see added, it's better to do it now than approve it as is and come back later to amend it, because then we just have to go through another hearing at the plan commission level. So now, before this ordinance is adopted, will be the time if we want to address this together.
Yes, I'm not.
Okay.
Reason prevails in design.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Mennel? Newman? Parrot? Motion carries.
One final item tonight, Your Honor, is the permit type report for the second quarter of 2024 for us. First page is just going to be from August 1st to Halloween. Just lays out all the fees and project costs and number of permits for that period of time. As well, if you kind of flip further back, that is going to be the year-to-date for all the fees, project costs, and permits for all different types of permits in the zoning office. Just for reference here, I did print out sort of a side-by-side of the fiscal year at this time last year versus this year. For the fees here, last year we were at $135,000. This year we're at $162,000. Project cost-wise, we're last year $11,500,000. This year we're at about $18,400,000. So looks like a pretty good jump there this year from last. And any questions you guys have about these numbers or these reports, please let me know. I'd love to kind of work with you guys and kind of get these dialed in as we move forward.
Any questions for us?
Question, John, 311 permits to 577.
Say it again. Oh.
Last year was 300, or the last report was 311, this year's 577, so.
Yeah, we try to keep pretty diligent in the office, making sure we document as much as we can, just to kind of serve the whole mapping system we have going. It's pretty impressive coming into this team and just being able to kind of make that better.
All right. Anything else? Do you have anything else besides that? That's it, is there?
That's it for me.
Okay. Village trustees, do you have anything? If not, can we have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.